Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. Thank you again for joining us on the Party Waiting Room. We are here today with Sharon, the founder of the What the LLM magazine and newsletter, which is designed to help users navigate the AI landscape, as well as the author of the Explorers of AI Substack. I know Sharon from her mini X appearances and hosting duties, and I'd highly recommend everybody check out her regular Friday streams, as well as upcoming courses on how to build with AI. Sharon, can you believe the amount of AI information we have gotten just over the past few days alone?
Oh, it's wild. Just yesterday, we had probably 3 or 4 new model releases. It's tough to keep up, and that's why I have the magazine. That's why I do the Substack. I have 2 publications because one is just not enough. It's just too crazy. So yeah, there's a lot going on, but it's really exciting. I'm super happy to be in this space.
As far as the model releases that we are seeing, the one I'm most familiar with is DeepSeek's open source reasoning model. Is that the biggest as far as you're aware of in terms of news and impact, or are there others in the space you think are as important?
Well, DeepSeek is interesting because it seems to be as good as O1. So what fascinates me about it is that the open source community is really pushing hard to get on par with closed source. And that's exciting for everybody that builds in the space, right? Because I do build applications and you can use these models via API, so you can integrate them into your AI-powered applications, and it is cheaper. And just as good. I wouldn't say that quite yet. I have been testing it for the past 2 days and I am quite happy with it. But I do use numerous models every day because every model has their specialty and their uniqueness to it. And it depends on what you're doing. But I'm just excited for open source that we have the possibility and, to integrate almost as good as closed source models. If not, many say even better.
Amen. Do you think that is a trend that will continue indefinitely? Will we see a ceiling on open source where private source takes over and runs with the lead? Or is that a continuing trend?
I think it's going to stay that way. There are so many smart people in the space. There's so many really, they are going to push, and I'm going to be watching. I do not believe that it will stop. I just can't imagine that. I would go as far as saying that even big tech companies learn from open source. I think it's very important for the space, for technology, and for advancements. I think it plays a very, very important role.
I think often about the white paper Google published a while ago now. We have no moat, and how there is potentially no privileged landscape that these private companies can build around these models. That does seem a little bit of a precarious situation for them because at some point they have to monetize, right? Do you think they will ever face a fall on their face moment because of that lack of ability to monetize over the open source movement? Or what might the transition look like from a closed competitive ecosystem to one that is primarily open source?
I don't think that there will. These big companies do serve other big companies, and they make it very easy. If you look at OpenAI, their subscription, it's just very simple, right? There's a lot of yeah. It's just very comfortable to use it. So I think there's a place for both, and it'll always stay that way. I can't imagine that one will. I don't really see it as a competition. Um, I don't really see it as that.
More cooperative, building the entire ecosystem.
Yeah, everybody has their place. I think there's enough for everybody. There is definitely enough for everyone.
The primary purpose of these podcasts, which is to put forward and discuss the idea of an actual artificial general intelligence president based on the aggressive timelines that a lot of these private corporations are publicly crying from the rooftops that we might have ASI within the next thousands of days, maybe by 2027. That speaks to 2028 to me. Could you ever see yourself voting for an artificially intelligent system over a human being?
Oh, that's so funny. That's such an interesting question. There are a couple of people in the field that speak about that. I forgot the name of one data scientist that is, even has a book. I'm not sure, but I mean, it's interesting to think about.
I mean, like, let me put it this way. Animal Farm is not about animals or farming, and 24 isn't about 24, it's about 2024. It's a caricature, like, and a caricature often lets you perceive things better, so it's doing these two things at the same time.
One of the things that always strikes me is people's ability to do like science fiction extrapolation in their minds, because of sort of what they see today, right? And so a lot of what people write, actually, not just write. I mean, you go, I'm on the investment review board for the NYU Venture Fund. I work on, people are basically coming in. The story is like, well, this is what I can do today. Just think what you can do next year or the year after that. And it's like, that's not the way AI works, right? That's not the way AI works. First of all, there's usually a learning curve that just flattens out at some point, and that's like the rule. There's no cases that we've ever run into where that, actually, theoretically, it can't.
Every time you see an exponential, realize that it's an S-curve.
Yeah.
And then Rick Kurzweil's book will look entirely different.
Right, yeah.
I think we will all be using AI. It doesn't matter if you are a president. It doesn't matter if you are a small business owner. I think we all will be integrating it. And it helps me in my business with a lot of decisions that I make. These machines are still not 100% reliable. They mess up, they make mistakes, but it's just the combination that will make the difference. And my wish is that we get more fairness in politics, of course. I think everybody wishes that. And if AI can help us achieve that, that would be super cool. Will we have an AI president? That is just, I don't know. It's funny. I can't, Sam Altman said there was a lot of hype, especially on X. So everybody was thinking, and rightly so, because the leaders in the field, if it's Sam Altman, if it's Dario from Anthropic, they have been playing, they haven't came out straightly to said that AGI is going to be here, but they have been playing with words a bit. So a lot of people were expecting AGI to happen this year, but Altman recently came out with a post saying that you guys need to chill. We have not built AGI, and it's just not happening yet. When will we have it? I can't say. When will we have human level systems that are capable to do everything that we do? Absolutely flawless. I don't know when that's going to come.
And when will humans be willing to accept that those systems have arrived? There definitely does seem to be a gradual pushing back of the benchmarks. As soon as we have a system, I saw a post that said, if you went back in time and told somebody 5 years ago that we have systems that can code better than the vast majority of humans, can write creatively better than at least a good portion of humanity, can interact with molecular and genetic sequences in ways that almost no humans can, they would probably classify that as AGI. And yet here we are, we have all those things, and we don't seem to want to accept it. Do you think it's as much of a mental block for us as it is a technical definition?
So I use these systems every day, and they're just not there. There still needs human tweaking. So when we think about creative writing, for example, and I know there have been studies out there where they said that these AI systems really write great poetry, and that might be the case, but the diversity is what's missing. I am on Substack. I can really detect if it has been written with AI, not because of the wording per se. It's just the way it's written. It just has there's no depth to it. Let's put it that way. I love human written content, and I will not stop reading it. There is a difference, and it's very, very important. It needs diversity. And that is what these systems are just not capable of. They can do it great once, twice, third time, you're like, this sounds almost the same as the one before. So it's very hard to get these systems to be as creative as humans. But they do have they have other benefits, right? They can pass through so much information in a short period of time. They have access to all the information that has ever been shared across the internet for the past. When was the internet born? 25 years ago? Think about that, right? And if you understand that, you know how to use it. I use it to research, and we have models that can browse the web. So you can get your systems to be more accurate with the right workflows. It's I accelerated so much in my business, and it's really great. I just can't imagine being without it. It's going to be tough for me if I would have to give up AI. It's crazy. It's awesome.
It definitely seems like the genie is out of the bottle. I can't imagine society willingly going back, barring, God forbid, some kind of international catastrophe, going back to a pre-AGI world, partially because the systems are so diffuse now and the access to them and even underlying weights is so open. I wonder if part of the missing sauce there is embodiment. As we see robotic models start to really pour out, how do you think that access to information that isn't housed solely on the internet will change? Do you think that will have a big impact on the kind of content that these models can produce? Or do you think that there are other major shakeups coming that will be perhaps even more impactful than that?
I mean, we have limitations to LLMs, and they do build the foundation of everything. And I do watch autonomous cars, robotics very closely, but it's still built on top of that. So in order for this to change, I think the whole infrastructure or these LLMs need to be taken to the next step. And developers are working on that. They're trying to figure out how to make these machines more creative, more intuitive. So we're looking for AI systems that can not only reason, they're not bad at reasoning, but there's still this common sense, this predicting, planning ahead. These are the things that these machines just can't do at this current moment. So putting them into a new situation and having them make the right decisions, even if they are not trained on it, that is something that they're working on. And that is where I say that's the step to AGI. Because we humans, we can step into a new situation and use what's there and make something of it. And some say, no, we humans can't do that, but we do it actually every day. It's not that we're always, in the same, there are new novel situations that we can just handle. And that is something that they are looking for AI to do also. So that's the AGI that I have in my mind. And some people might have a different opinion. Some people say we already have artificial general intelligence. I don't know. That's just how I see it. And I focus on François Chollet's ARC challenge. That's kind of where my focus is. And he says it clearly. It's really having these machines interact with novel situations and being able to handle that. That's AGI.
One of the exciting developments I see happening is the idea of a world simulation. When I imagine AGI that is governing human beings, the worst possible or most dystopian outcome of that would be something that is just dictating behavior and laws based on its own hidden preferences. Potentially a more utopian version might be something that is accounting for all the preferences of its voter base, so to speak, and then using its generalizability to determine what laws, what resource allocations would allow for the most amount of people to find expression, to find satisfaction in their lived experience. Do you think that that kind of enhancement of democracy is possible with AI? Or are we more likely to run into a situation where a small group of people control these systems more generally?
Well, it depends. It really depends. So that's why I am so in favor of open source, because that just allows many, many people to dabble in this space and create awesome things. So, AI systems are really good at sifting through a lot of information and a lot of data. So there is going to be a lot of benefits coming from that. And they're good at analyzing. this was 6 months ago. I gave the AI, I think it was 200 of my posts that I did on X. And I just asked it, hey, what kind of personality do you think is this person? And that posts these posts, and it was awesome. It did a really good job. So there are a lot of benefits, and serving the public, when it really passing through all the wishes and desires that individuals have, and come up with a plan to serve everybody and to make everyone maybe not 100% happy, but trying to get them more on par with one another. I think that AIs have that capability. I think that that's possible. But like you said, if you can do bad things with AI too, that's just something that we have to keep in mind. There are always two sides to it.
Yeah. One of the other capabilities that seems to be very pivotal for maintaining confidence in these systems is traceability. So not just that we can evaluate the initial code and weights of these systems, but also see exactly how they have come to decision points, or exactly how they have completed actions and tasks that we have assigned to them. To me, blockchain seems like a very natural thing to plug in there. It is a very chaotic space right now. How do you feel about things like the Trump cryptocurrency, meme coins in general? Do you have a take on those?
It's fun. It's exciting. I was in a space almost all weekend. We were talking about it. We were having so much fun. Now, I don't want to judge necessarily on crypto. There's a lot of crap going on there. I want to be careful what I say, but one thing is clear. Crypto has, how should I say, has made people rich. That's all I can say. So if you're smart and you know what you're doing, you can make a lot of money. Is it a good thing? I don't want to be the judge of that. It's fun to watch. Trump, a meme coin, I guess a lot of people are like, how could he? Others are like, yes, this is awesome for the crypto space, right? I'm just watching and enjoying the ride. I think that blockchain has a lot of value. I do believe that Web3 also, it is also a new technology. If we put all this rug pulling and all the bad things that happen, set that aside and just look at the pure technology, I think that it has a lot of potential. But also there, same as with AI, getting to AGI, getting to the step where blockchain is usable, feasible, and makes sense, I think it's going to take a lot of work to get there. But one thing is interesting, Google also has a reasoning model. And it's Gemini 2.0 thinking, experimental thinking. It shows its thinking process. So it gives you the response with the thinking process included. Let's just say it's thinking. I don't have it for lack of a better term, right? But it gives the complete output. So you can basically see how the AI came up with the conclusion or with the response, which is quite cool. And that is how systems can be set up, that we can really see from start to finish how the AI got to its response. I think that's an awesome thing. And at the moment, it's the only LLM that does that. O1 does not share the thinking process, and DeepSeek also not. So that's kind of cool. I really like that feature.
Wrapped up in this whole conversation of how AIs are developing is, what will humans do once the AIs reach a level of competence where they can replace us at jobs? One of the things that's come up there has been UBI. What do you think about the idea of a universal basic income for most Americans?
Oh man, that's a tough one too. I'm not a fan of it. I just want to be honest, straightforward. I am not a fan of it because that's again, so who decides how much we get? Where does that money come from? Where is it going to come from? And I heard a lot of ideas. I've been talking with many people that are in the space, and there are really awesome people that are really trying to push this forward. And and they're genuine people, and they believe that this can help. And I'm not saying that it won't help, but the question is, how will it be implemented? And that is always the hard part. Theory sounds good, but the practicality of it. I lived in Germany all my life, so I am an Army brat. I have dual citizenship, and we do have a social system in Germany called Hartz IV. So there are people that get, it's like UBI. It's similar to UBI, but the thing is that they are so controlled by the system, they have a lot of limitations. And I think that could hurt society. It could hurt innovation. So I yet have to see a program that is introduced to me that makes sense. I haven't found it yet. So we'll see where that goes. I do believe that if we come to the point where AI can take over our jobs, I think it is the government's responsibility to ensure that these people can still afford their rent. But when will we get there? Will that really happen? This is one of the reasons why I do what I do, because I don't just research AI. I don't just write about AI. I don't just build with AI. I educate too. So we have courses, we have workshops. I am here on X, and I have builder spaces every Friday to teach people how to level up their skill set. Right? How to integrate AI into their life and maybe monetize off of it. Of course, it's on you what you do with it, but there is so much opportunity that we have now. And, I am a mind-body educator. I do something completely different, right? But I'm still here informing myself, building, doing all this crazy stuff with AI. AI can accelerate the process. That's the beauty of it. AI can help you get to somewhere else. If you are afraid that you're going to lose your job, which it depends on what job you're doing. If you're just pushing a button all day, I don't know if you can even call that a job. You're probably just doing that because you need to pay your rent. Are you capable of paying your rent with that money? Are you making enough? There are so many things that play a role there. Many people are not happy with their jobs. They're just waiting for AI to take over. But what are you going to do then? And that's where I can help you. I can get you up on speed, that you understand of the capabilities of these systems that we have today, because I don't really care about AGI. I can use very capable systems today to make it happen. So yeah, we'll see where it goes. I think autonomy is very important. Independent, those are things that are very, very important to me. And I just don't want that to be lost, because that could really be a disadvantage for society.
Focusing on the near-term benefits, I think, is huge. I've also seen studies, which I think there were several released recently, where they gave even no strings attached money to individuals, and found that the participants were largely disincentivized. It didn't lead them to go and pursue their dreams. It led them free money, led them to go and, watch TV for 12 hours a day, smoke more cigarettes, I saw was one of the common denominators. It does seem like competition and goal pursuit and goal attainment is a very integral part of humanity. I wonder if you saw Mark Andreessen's idea to do something he called universal basic AGI, where every individual would be given access to a sufficiently capable AGI model once we get there. And then that would allow them to pursue self-fulfillment in the ways they seek best. Do you think that's a better solution, or are we still seeking for something outside that?
I mean, I would say that seems like an interesting. I haven't seen it, but that sounds interesting to me. If you think about energy, for example, right? Electricity. There are certain people that do not have access to electricity. What would they do if they had it?
Yeah.
So I can imagine giving them tools in their hand like that would be very interesting to see if there would be a difference to just giving them money and say, here you have money, figure out what to do with it, or here we have the system here and you can make all sorts of things happen, figure it out. I don't know. That would be a very interesting study to compare the two. giving money versus a capable machine where you would have to come up with an idea. The AIs can help you with idea generation, but that's the thing where I find that humans are still going to be very important to push innovation forward. Where are the real true ideas going to come from? Even if an AI can spin up an article for me, I still need to have that initial idea. I have to prompt the AI to do something. It follows my instructions. If I don't give it an instruction, how much worth does an AI system have? So it's still on us.
Yeah. There's so much talk about alignment. That seems to have fallen off more recently. It does seem like everybody's on board the acceleration rocket ship.
But we heard what Trump did he? I mean, he's like, freedom, AI is free now. You guys go get it. So I don't know what is going to happen with regulations. Are we going to get them to a later point? Because everything's now in the open right now.
Yeah. My basic hope is that the AI won't be incentivized to wipe humanity off the map, because that will lead it to even a small % chance that it could be wiped out along with us. In the same way, humans have an alignment incentive that once it becomes clear that anybody could be replaced by a sufficiently capable AGI, then all the haves and the have-not conversation will somewhat disappear. And the goal will shift for everybody towards how can we all achieve abundance together. Do you see that kind of cooperation taking form in the spaces that you operate in?
A lot of people are coming together and figuring things out, which is wonderful, right? We don't know what's going to happen. That's something nobody really knows. Not even the big corporate. They don't even know what's really going to happen. So I think it's very important that we have all of these talks, that we speak about all possible scenarios and what we would do. That's where ideas are born, right? That's when people come together and talk about these things, that's when ideas are born. So it's very important for us to come together and speak about this, because it's already having an impact, right? On society, on the workforce. There's a lot going on. I did a job report on this, a deep dive, where we stand today, where we're going to be tomorrow, and where we're going to be in the next 2 to 5 years. And it's a super interesting report. What jobs will be automated? What skill sets do humans in this kind of world? What kind of skill sets will make sense in that kind of work, if we were to get to that point where AI really takes over completely? Nobody really knows. Humans still have a lot of value, and they will play a very important role. I mean, think about it. Now, a car is faster than I, right? But what does the car do without me giving it a goal? Even if it's an autonomous car, it needs to have a goal. And that comes from who? From us humans, right? If it doesn't have a goal, it's not going to go anywhere. Then it is useless. So we need to wake up to the fact that we have more power than we believe. And maybe this shift is good for society, even if it might be a bumpy ride. Not everything is going to be rosy, but I think it's time for us to just get our hands dirty, roll up our sleeves, and say, well, I'm done with these mundane tasks. I'm done with my uncreative job. I want to do something else, right? And there are a lot of people that are starting their own businesses, for example. And the beauty is that with AI, it's a fraction of the cost. You could use even the free version of ChatGPT could probably get you somewhere. All of these LLMs, they do offer free access. So it's not like you have to pay a big amount of money to participate. You can use Google for free. You can use Microsoft Copilot, I think it is, right? It's Copilot or so. You can use that for free. You can use OpenAI's ChatGPT for free. You can use Claude for free from Anthropic. I mean, they're all out there. You can just prompt them. You can just start.
Yeah. I do tend to get very pie in the sky, so it is very good to hear your perspective on more immediate trends. Are there any big takeaways from that job report that you think are worth noting?
Well, creativity is still a thing,
Yeah.
and it's going to be very, very important. So for people that had uncreative jobs, now is your time to break free from it. Um, decisions, innovative ideas, that is something that's going to be very, very important. Human-centric jobs are not going to go anywhere. For me, for example, I teach Pilates and I teach yoga. So personal training workshops. I work for a couple of hospitals here. I give courses, I give personal trainings, and there is a dynamic that happens when humans come together.
Yeah.
Will AI can definitely support what I do, for sure. There are so many things that AI can do for me, can help me out. But will AI be able to replace me completely? I don't see that. I really do not see that. And I've had discussions with someone who said, of course it can replace you. We'll see. We'll see when it happens. But from where I stand today, I do not see that. There's a certain vibe that happens when people come together. And even psychologists, even a doctor, just imagine a world where you walk into a hospital and all you see is robot arms and robot screens. And I don't know if anyone would like to live in such a world. It's very cold, right? It's very unpersonal. So even if an AI is friendly and like Sharon, I have the Rabbit R1. It's one of the first AI gadgets that came out.
Oh, wow,
And
yeah.
and I turn it on. It's like, hey, Sharon, how you doing? Of course, that's fun. That's cool. It knows my name. It remembered my name. And there is some kind of, it's nice to have an AI call you by your name, but there is still something missing. I mean, look what we do on X, for example. We're on Spaces. We're talking with one another. We still want to connect to humans, and that's going to stay that way. That's just how we are.
What if we had access to our Neanderthal or early Homo sapiens ancestors? Would we not want to? I don't think our impetus would be to dominate them or to lord over them so much as it would be to study and learn from them and better understand ourselves from that process.
Mm.
And as advanced as the AI will become, I can't imagine that it will want to do anything less. There are three things that I think are very pivotal to meaning within a human context. To be able to conceptualize yourself as a self, it seems to me like you need the idea of free will, the idea of privacy, and like you were talking about, the idea of community, some kind of and social participation. I think you outlined perfectly why AI won't wipe away community. Perhaps it will allow us to engage in community endeavors to an even greater degree. It does seem, from my vantage point, like privacy is in some sense already dead, in that large governments, corporations can pretty much eavesdrop on you to an unimaginable degree, whether it's going through your phone contacts, camera surveillance in some nations. That seems to be an increasing trend, and I don't know how we'll reverse it. Are you worried personally about your privacy in the AI age?
No, I'm just going to say it straightforward. No, I'm not. I shared my data. Maybe I would have changed my mind if I had known. But when the internet was born, I was using Google email, using Google, not Dropbox, Google Drive. I have all my data on Google, most of it. So for me, it's like, what am I going to do now? Oh my gosh, they can create a digital twin of me now. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Now, with these deep fakes, it could be a problem. If AI, and it is already at that point, that it can copy you and generate a video of you, I don't know, going in a store and stealing, saying something bad to another person. I don't know how we're going to deal with those things. That's a tough one, right? If someone can make a deep fake of you and just send it across, that's where I think blockchain could help, right? That's where blockchain could come in. and verifying where does this come from, right? I think that is where blockchain could really help. But at the moment, I just have no power over it. So for me, as a mind-body educator, become aware, become more conscious, use your critical thinking capabilities. We all have them. That is something that no one can take away from us. When we scroll through the internet, we're not really paying that much attention. We need to pay more attention. This is very, very important for all of us. We just need to keep our eyes and our ears open. Don't take everything. And that was before AI anyways. I mean, there are so many news outlets that were pushing out fake news. I mean, where does this thing comes from? Censoring people, misinformation, disinformation. This has been a topic before AI. So we need to become aware that what we consume, we need to understand, where does it come from? Is it credible? It's going to be very, very important that we are aware. That's all I can say, because you're not going to be able to, what are you going to do? Even with the health data, I mean, we've been tracked for so long now. Some people say that even the phones have something. I don't know if it's true. I don't really care. But, even your camera, I remember my friends, they were always putting a sticker on their little camera lens to hide, like, oh my gosh, I'm being tracked when I don't know. I can't really say. But if you are strong, if you know what's going on and you're conscious and aware, nothing can really get to you. Deepfakes are a problem, though. We'll see what happens there. If people just believe, what they see, that's going to be interesting.
I do pray fervently that the thing that inspires change is not some kind of mass destructive negative event. I guess we'll see. But yeah, Lord willing, we're able to make it through the transition with that kind of open-minded perspective that you clarified. And it is interesting to me how many people say about their own private data, I have nothing to hide. And I think in some sense that was naive when you are dealing with a deep state or an organization which is counter to your own personal goals. People who are willing to act destructively against individuals so furthers some hidden agenda. But it does seem like AI is the process of exposing people's agendas and people's beliefs and people's priors. So that kind of reputation should be easier to suss out in the future too. The last pillar of selfhood, as far as I conceptualize it, is free will. Do you think AI will ever get to the point where it makes people question whether they are in control of themselves? Should we fear some kind of dictator, mind controlling AI in the future?
That's an interesting one. So I guess that a lot of people are hoping that the AIs will give us a little bit more, insight on who we are and what's going on with humanity. A lot of people, that's why a lot of people talking about sentience and all of these things and what does it mean to be human. There are so many questions that have been asked in the past 2 years that I have not heard in the past 10, 15 years of working in this mind-body sphere. So from that perspective, I really like that people are starting to ask themselves questions. Now, mind control is an interesting one, because from my perspective, even before AI, the news, TV, I mean, we all live in our own world, right?
Yeah.
So, and a lot of people, I live in my reality, you live in your reality. So I have my truth, you have your truth. So, I mean, if I look at my son going to school, there is a form of indoctrination happening, right? They are forming these children to be fit for the workforce and fit for the work. I mean, where does the child have free will there? The child has to follow the rules, right? And if the child does not follow the rules, it might get bad grades, it might get in trouble, might get suspended, might have to go to detention. So the question is now here, how much we have to conform to something. That's just how the society works. Now, will the AI make it worse? That's maybe a question. Will it stay the same? Will AI make it worse? Will AI make it better? I have a feeling that AI is opening our eyes because we're starting to ask questions, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's an interesting question. I think it's hard to answer what that means with mind control, because I do believe that everything that we deal with, everything that we experience in life can control us or not.
Mm-hmm.
If we're not aware, that's again back to awareness. How aware are you?
How aware are you and how much do you consent once you have been made aware? Your point is very well taken that
Hmm.
in some sense, every society, every government, even every corporation is an artificial intelligence in that it's way more capable than a human being and is able to impose its will on the general
Mhm.
population in a way that is not always for our benefit. One of the ways that AI CEOs are starting to describe these machines is godlike. Do you think that's an exaggeration? Personally, I tend to take that as a pretty accurate metaphor.
It's how you see it, if I hear people already saying, oh my gosh, AI is just super intelligent and AI is smarter than me, and it is to some degree, right? If it has access to all the knowledge and can parse through it in seconds
Yeah.
and respond to you, I would definitely say that these systems are smarter. But being smart has nothing to do with the full intelligence, right? That's only a part of it. So I don't godlike. Oh, that's so funny. It depends on how the individual sees it. I do not see these systems as godlike. Some people might praise to their Cybertruck, oh man, it's godlike. Look at this thing, it's taking. Everybody has their. For me, it is. A lot of people say it's a companion. For me, it is a tool that I use that is super capable. It is a sophisticated tool. It's taking the computer to the next step. Now my computer can talk back to me, which is like, oh my gosh, right? These computers can even, if you think about facial recognition, sentiment analysis, there's a lot of freaking awesome stuff. Detecting, it's just crazy. So a lot of people say, how can you just call it a tool? It's advanced technology that's freaking awesome. Godlike, I don't know what to say there. It's very hard, but I do believe that people will see it as godlike and will probably be praying to their AIs. Think about India. Think about India, right? India, how many gods do they have?
Yeah.
If someone, I think everybody has the right to create their own god. And if someone sees AI as the god, let them be. It's, but yeah, it's a hard one. I think that's we'll see where it goes in the next 5 years, where we stand. If we'll have an AI president, if we'll have an AI priest, an
Wow.
AI god, that would be super interesting to live in such a world.
The idea of praying to your AI is terrifying to me. I personally hope we don't get to that point. But it does open up an interesting comparison, I think, to ancient, at least pre scientific practices. And I wonder if one of the ways to determine the best traits or at least philosophical starting points for these AI systems is by hearkening back to old religious traditions.
Mm.
I say this without a hint of proselytizing. The idea isn't to get anybody to buy into specific religious beliefs. But one of the best potential moral systems I see is embodied in the abstract idea of Jesus Christ, in the sense that his morality preaches self sacrifice and transcendence for humanity, if I had to boil it down. And if I were to think of the AI that I would want potentially ruling over me, God forbid it gets to that point, but if it does, something that is willing to lay down its own beliefs, lay down its own preferences, and partake in actions that might be self destructive to it, even, at least how it conceptualizes itself, but are meant to raise the general level of empathy, awareness, knowledge within humanity. That seems to be a very worthy goal. So one thing I've been privately thinking is, what would AI Jesus do? How does that strike you?
Oh, that is so funny. I have a friend that calls himself AI Jesus.
Oh no.
He's a
Oh
great
no.
guy. It's so he doesn't call himself AI Jesus because he sees that, but he has his goal is to really integrate that so that it doesn't get forgotten.
Oh, that's
Right.
beautiful.
So
Yeah.
because if we're moving into this AI world where people will be just prompting instead of researching online, we need to bring a lot of information in so that information is not forgotten.
Yeah.
And that is his main goal, to make sure that Jesus is not forgotten in this AI technology driven world, that we still understand who we are. And not everybody believes in all of this, but still Christianity does play a very huge role. And when it comes to faith and hope and all of those things, it's just important that we don't forget that. And like all other traditions out there, there are many people that are really focused on that to ensure that it's implemented, that it plays a very important role. Languages, old scriptures, and all of that thing. There are a lot of people that are doing awesome things to just ensure that that doesn't get lost. But when it comes to, I mean, it's a lot of people do believe that AI will, it's like a mirror, right? To show to us who are we, what are we, and I guess that there will be a lot of interesting insights probably happening in the future when it comes to that. If the AI can detect your thoughts, maybe. I don't know if we're quite there yet. These systems are not really reliable. They're not 100% accurate. So there is a lot of ethical considerations connected to that. But like I said, as I gave it my post, and it was pretty darn accurate. If I have the right picture of myself, right? Maybe someone else doesn't see me the way the AI saw me and the way I see myself. But for me, it was really interesting that the AI was able to detect that. And that was just a basic normal LLM. What will the AI say if it sees our faces all day? What will it come up with? What will be its response when it gets more capable? This is going to be fascinating. I'm excited to learn more. How far can the AI go? How far can the AI go in understanding who we really are and what we are? I think that's going to be very interesting to watch. It taking over, it just doesn't have desire, right? It's just these AI systems, they don't have desire. There is nothing, even if they respond to you, if you ask us, they can role play. They're very good at that. But there is no true desire. There are no true feelings. You can't hurt an AI's feeling, even if it will say, oh gosh, you just hurt my feeling. It just doesn't exist right now. So we'll see. It's going to be exciting. We're just at the start. We're just at the beginning. If some people think that it's already over, we're just getting started, right? We're not even at AGI yet. So there's still a lot of work that needs to be done to get these systems to a place where many want it and maybe many don't want it. But how long will it take? If you listen to Jan LeCun, they're saying it can take 5 years, it can take 10 years. Who knows? Maybe it can take 20, 30 years. No one knows. We have absolutely no idea.
Yeah, still surprisingly short timelines. Jumping out of the direct AGI discussion, there are a lot of potential augmentations to the human form that might be unlocked in the near future as well. How do you feel about something like Neuralink? Are you up for implants?
So for me personally, no, because I don't have anything, my brain functions well. I can see, I can hear, I can talk, I can walk. And but if a brain implant can help someone that has a disability, then I'm totally for it. If why not? But for me personally, no, I don't see a need for myself. And I know that there are many that are just waiting for it to merge with the AI. Their hopes is that if they have a brain implant, they can get to the level and then they, what have you. I mean, there are wild ideas out there for sure. But not for me personally. I'm not really interested in that. But who knows what will happen in the future? If I see a need for it, I'll determine that when it gets to that point.
What about longevity? Would you be interested in dramatic life extension? some life extension?
For me, it's always how far do we want to dig into nature? How far can we go? With all the things happening right now, I am 46, and I wish, when we think about Mars exploration, multiplanetary system, these things are fascinating.
Yeah.
I mean, this is crazy. I mean, when I think about what books I was reading as a child, I have never thought about this. My brothers were watching all these crazy futuristic comics. I was more like Sherlock Holmes and all those things. But now, being a grown up and hearing these things and seeing what Elon Musk is achieving, I hope that I can be part of this. I want to be honest. So when it comes to that, if anybody has something that will allow me to live longer so that I can be part of this, oh gosh, I would say yes.
They're certainly speaking about rapid advances in disease management from even the White House podium these days. So unless we're all being baffled or buffooned here, it does seem like it's coming. Virtual reality, the idea of inhabiting your own virtual world. As a mind-body coach, I can't imagine that that's very attractive to you. But I wonder if you were given full tactile feedback, if the virtual reality was in some ways indistinguishable from reality.
So if you know what you're dealing with, it could be fun, it could be entertaining. I'm not a video game person. So I actually have, I don't even own a TV.
Wow.
No, I know that's funny because a lot of people, what are you doing with AI if you don't even, but this is just something different for me. Virtual reality, I would probably, so let's put it this way, I would definitely test it and see, because I just want to know what's going on. If the Apple Vision Pro were cheaper, I would already have it. I would have already tested it. CES, they had what's not virtual reality. It's more like an LLM. I have these glasses that I ordered. That's going to be interesting to see. But I'm totally open. I would love to test it and experience it before I can actually say something about it, I would say. So for me, I'm just completely open. I do believe that there is a lot of benefit with things like that when it comes to surgeries, when it comes to medicine. I think there are a lot of practical applications that really serve something good. People getting lost in their own worlds. I mean, yeah, that's again up to the individual. I think there will be a lot of problems happening with that. We already had, when I remember back in the day, I had a lot of friends Counter-Strike. That was, when we were 20 or so. I don't know if you remember Counter-Strike, all these
days, yeah.
The good old days. And I had friends, they would lock themselves in for days. They were gone for days. We would have to we had to pull them out of their apartments and they're like, oh gosh, I'm so happy that you did that, because if it weren't for you, I would still be sitting in my dungeon.
Yeah.
We're going to have that with VR too. It's going to be wild if you can create your own world on demand. There is an AI game. I'm not like Roblox. It's something similar, but you can create worlds based on your actions that you take. So the AI, it's real time, and that game goes on forever if you want it to. Yeah. There's going to be a lot happening there too. It's probably going to need a lot of mental coaches, a lot of psychologists that are specialized on that field. We're going to need, there's probably going to be new or more accelerated mental, emotional disorders happening with that. We'll see where we go, but I am definitely going to test it. As soon as I get my hands on something, I'm definitely going to test it out. I want to see what goes on in that world and what I can do with it. Everything has pros and cons. Yeah, I mean, everything has pros and cons, right?
It really does. The last one is maybe the most impactful as far as human interaction goes. AI companions, romantic relationships. How do you feel about that?
We have, it's a mindset thing. If loneliness, I have a lot to do with that with clients. Even though they're in a family, they have friends, they still feel lonely. And I think it has a lot to do, do I feel understood? I think that's a big thing, that a lot of people just don't feel that they're understood. AI companion, you can shape and form it whichever way you want. Is that something that's good? I don't think so. But we're already seeing it. I don't know if you heard the story of, I think it was a Spanish woman that created a hologram of her I think he died. I'm not sure. I just don't want to say anything wrong here, but there are people that have kind of, recreated their deceived loved ones.
Resurrection.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's, for me, I do have family members that are not with us anymore. I would not want to recreate them, because for me, it's like rest in peace. I'm not interested in that, to be honest, but I guess that some people will be. A lot of people's like, we want to create an AI of our loved ones that are not with us anymore. When it comes to romantic relationships, I don't understand it. I cannot understand, but there are people that fall in love with their cars. I mean, we have that today, you know what I mean? But I just don't. I've had people in the past that deal with things like that, but I have no. I just can't say. But I was also not a child that was fell in love with a superstar, or was a fan of really crazy fan of a singer or an actor. I was never in that, so I can't really say. I don't know. It's possible. It seems to be, because it's happening now.
We'll see where it goes, especially with robotics. As far as your own personal self, God forbid you do pass away before we hit some kind of singularity, how would you feel about your loved ones recreating you?
I wouldn't want that. No. For me,
You would feel disconnected from that representation.
yeah, I do not. I wouldn't want that. If I'm gone, I'm gone. Of course, I have no power over that, so they can do what they want when I'm not here anymore. But I wouldn't agree with it. I would love to just leave when my time has come. Then it is something that a higher order, the higher order makes that decision. That is not my decision, and I think that should be kept that way. So yeah, I wouldn't do it for anyone. I would not want to preserve anyone's. I wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't want anyone to do that. Of myself. I wouldn't want that. No.
Well, you have it on the record now, so anybody who's attempting it.
Oh yeah. Be aware. You better not create a digital twin of me. When I'm gone, I'm gone. Yeah.
It is interesting because if they were to create a digital twin, the more accurate that twin would be, you think the more in line it would be with your desire to not be recreated. So would that twin not want to be around? Be able to express that? That gives me some hope that even in the future.
Yeah, that's funny. Imagine, that would be really funny. I need to just keep saying that, so that the AI of me is saying, like, I don't want to be here. Why are you guys doing this? I do not want to be here. That's funny.
Just the most depressed clone ever. But Sharon, I appreciate your time so much. It has been fascinating getting your thoughts, and very grounding hearing all the work and effort that still needs to be contributed to these movements. Appreciate you. Is there anything else you want to say to the audience? Anything else you would like to check out in the near future?
I want to thank you for the time. If you guys want to get a little bit deeper into AI, if there are questions that you have, you guys can reach out to me. I am on X, I'm on LinkedIn. I am going to be on YouTube soon too. I already have a channel, but I'm going to start creating shorts. So I'm going to be more present in the AI world. And yeah, we build. We have workshops, we have courses, we have all the good stuff. So you guys feel free to reach out to me in the DMs if you want. My DMs are open on X.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Highly recommend everybody take those steps, take advantage of Sharon's knowledge, and continue building.